Chairman Jim Walsh here for our regular Chairman's Update. A lot going on, as there has been all through the fall this year. But as 2025 starts to come toward a close, things are only heating up more. Just this week, the Assistant Attorney General for the United States, Harmeet Dillon, who has been spearheading some of the voter data, election integrity issues that the White House administration is pursuing around the country, has really sharpened her focus on some things going on here in Washington state. Just recently, Dillon has sued the state of Washington, particularly the office of the State Secretary of State, Mr. Steve Hobbs, for not complying with the U.S. Department of Justice's request, and really it was a demand, that the state of Washington share its registered voter database information, registered voters, with the federal government to review and frankly to audit Washington state's voter rolls, the voter database of registered voters. In our state, we have very lax, really practically non-existent due diligence and quality control on checking that people who register to vote are actually citizens and legal to vote in the state of Washington and the United States. You have to be a citizen to register to vote, but we have no systems in place in our state for checking that. When you combine that with our state's automatic voter registration policies, sometimes called motor voter, where people who apply for a driver's license or a state ID card or state benefits, Apple Health coverage, SNAP benefits, anything like that, are automatically registered to vote in Washington state unless they affirmatively say no. When you combine that with the lack of any due diligence check on whether the person who's been automatically registered is actually a citizen, you have a very dangerous situation where people could be illegally registered to vote in Washington. That's illegal, of course. It's also unconstitutional because registering people to vote who are not legal voters dilutes the voting voice of legal voters. When you dilute the pool of registered voters, fill it with some people who aren't citizens or otherwise not legal voters, you have a net dilution. You weaken the relative power, the relative influence and importance of each legal vote. And this dilution of legal votes is something that is protected by the United States Constitution, particularly in the 14th Amendment, but in several other parts of the U.S. Constitution. And our state constitution here in Washington, while it does not speak so specifically to these issues, does acknowledge that the federal Constitution is the highest law in the land. So we have a problem. We have a problem in Washington where we automatically register people to vote, but we don't really check if they're citizens or not, or otherwise legal voters. Because remember, even legal immigrants here in Washington state, even people who are here with a green card, legally here as immigrants, as residents, they also can't vote. You have to be a citizen, either born or naturalized, in order to vote. This is one of the reasons that the state Republican Party has been sponsoring and supports so strongly IL 26-126. It's the initiative out gathering signatures right now to require proof of citizenship, to require that due diligence check when someone registers to vote. In the meantime, Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General back in D.C., is leading this lawsuit against the state of Washington. And just in the last few days, Dillon gave an interview where she reiterated that to register people in a sloppy or unchecked way does in fact dilute the rightful votes of legal voters, and that this, she points out, is a civil rights issue. And she's right, it is. Diluting or suppressing the vote of legal voters is a civil rights issue. And Mr. Hobbs, the Washington state elected official who oversees elections in our state, has made a series of very weak excuses for why he will not cooperate with the federal government's request, really demand, to see the voter data. He, working with the state attorney general, Mr. Nick Brown, and with the kind of tacit approval of the current governor, Mr. Bob Ferguson, the three of them have been saying that they are protecting the privacy of illegal aliens and other non-citizens by refusing to share registered voter data with the federal government, with the U.S. Department of Justice. Now think about that for a minute. They are protecting the privacy of non-citizens, including illegal aliens, by not sharing voter data with the U.S. Department of Justice. Think about what that means. And even if they believe they're right to protect the privacy of non-citizens and illegal aliens, which they aren't, by the way, it's a trade-off. They're saying that privacy is more important to them than the risk of diluting the vote of legal registered voters and violating the U.S. Constitution. It is a bizarre position that Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Brown are taking, but it's completely politics for them. They haven't thought through the law. They aren't looking at the Constitution. They're playing politics. Because Harmeet Dillon works for the U.S. Department of Justice in the administration of Donald Trump, who is the great villain to Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Brown and Mr. Ferguson, they are defying a lawful order from the U.S. Department of Justice. They are breaking the law because of politics, because they don't like Donald Trump. This is wrong. And Harmeet Dillon is right. She's right in how she's framed the issue, that the state of Washington needs to cooperate with the U.S. Department of Justice on this matter of voter integrity, of voter databases, auditing them. And she's right to point out this is a civil rights issue. I don't think Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Brown and Mr. Ferguson understand that they are actually violating people's civil rights with their actions and their defiance of a lawful order. All of this puts into perspective how important it is that we get signatures to qualify this people's initiative to require voter ID, to require proof of citizenship, and people register to vote. Now, I am a little concerned. Just in the last few days, while we are getting lots of these petitions in with signatures on them, and that's a good thing, they're coming in a little slowly. We've fallen a little bit behind our schedule for where we want to be in order to get enough signatures on time to qualify this initiative. So please, if you're involved in gathering signatures, and I hope you are, we need to get them returned into our offices here in Bellevue, or just to one of your local signature gathering places. You can go on our website, wagop.org, or our partner organization, Let's Go Washington, also has a list of places where you can drop off the petitions, and they'll be collected and delivered, or you can pop them in the mail, either way. But we need to get those in. We've fallen back a little bit on the scheduled, we hope, pace that we need to keep to get the 309,000 plus signatures we need to qualify the initiative. I'm still optimistic we'll get there. These processes do tend to be kind of last minute. A bunch of signatures always come in right at the end. But I would like us to keep our pace up so that we don't need a big chunk there at the end. That's it for this week. We will be looking forward in the weeks to come to the legislative session coming up in Olympia. That starts January 12th, so we'll have a few more updates to discuss bills and proposals and taxes and budgets that will be voted on during that legislative session. But we will be doing more to inform you of the good bills and the bad ones, and there are lots of bad ones, and giving you the tools for commenting online and voicing your opinion, either pro or con, on bills in Olympia during the legislative session. But we've got time to do that. Finally, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. It's coming up, and I hope you take the time to be with family and friends and enjoy really the most sacred and profound holidays we have. It'll be a good break, and please enjoy it and take it, and then we'll come right back into fighting trim here to try to fix what's broken and defend what's good in our beautiful state. Until next time, Merry Christmas, stay strong, and be well.